And on Sunday, Cam and the Patriots taking on Tua and the Dolphins. And hey, no pressure, but New England's NFL record run of 11 straight playoff appearances is over with a loss. So, Max, who do you have more faith in on Sunday? Is it Cam or is it Tua?
It's Cam Newton, and the reason is Bill Belichick. And it works two ways. One, Belichick with Cam. Notice how there's not a quarterback controversy really in New England, in spite of the fact that Cam Newton is almost, I think he's second to last in terms of passer rating. I don't know where his QBR is offhand. But he has thrown, 5 touchdowns through the air, right? Like he's not a traditional quarterback. And yet Belichick has steadfastly supported Cam since preseason. He is very impressed with Cam's leadership, work ethic, and especially competitiveness. And the kind of loyalty that Belichick shows those kind of players. You think of Belichick as ruthless and heartless, but it's important in terms of the kind of culture in New England that those things are on display. That when a guy leads and competes and works like Cam, that the team sees that the head coach backs him. And by the way, they're one game under 500. In spite of a kind of brutal schedule, and they have a bunch of quality wins, and they're a couple plays from being a couple games over 500. That's one, Stephen A. And the second thing is this, and it again involves Belichick. Belichick's going up against a rookie quarterback. I mean, Tua is impressive, but he is a rookie quarterback, and Belichick has those guys for lunch. That adds up to me to more faith in Cam Newton this weekend.
Well, I can't knock that when you bring Belichick into the equation, because we all know that he does have rookie quarterbacks for lunch, and we get all of that. And I take no pleasure in saying this because I love the guy personally, but I've lost faith in Cam. They can't throw the football. They've got the 26th ranked offense, like the 29th ranked pass and attack. Cam Newton is not an accurate thrower of the football. And yeah, he's completing 66% of his passes. We give him credit for that. He's got 5 touchdowns and 10 interceptions on the season. These are just not impressive numbers. I've watched him throw the football. I'm not impressed with it. And when that's going up against the number 2 ranked defense in the entire NFL, led by a guy who's a disciple, essentially, of Bill Belichick, I think that the same thing that you could say about Bill Belichick, even though I'm not taking, in this particular case, I'm not taking history into consideration. I'm just taking their positions and their acumen. The same thing that you could say about Bill Belichick and how he could have somebody for lunch. Well, if you're Brian Flores and you're from that Bill Belichick tree and you see what Cam Newton is doing combined with what you know Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniel like to do, imagine how that could end up working out for you. I just see this as being a bad afternoon for Cam in terms of throwing the football. This defense for Miami is real. I don't think they can be underestimated. And the fact that they're going up against a relatively inaccurate passer in Cam Newton, I think it spells trouble for Cam Newton. My faith would be in Tua by default.
The Dolphins have gotten better and better as the season's gone on, that's true. But I'm looking at Cam's numbers from their first game, where the Patriots beat them by 2 scores, and he didn't throw any touchdowns in that game. He also didn't have any interceptions, threw for 155 yards, completed 15 of 19. That kind of performance can beat this team, as it did originally. Of course, there was a different guy under center at the time. Nevertheless, Justin Herbert, I just got through raving about, and they got talent on the team, and in spite of Anthony Lynn's coaching problems. Stephen A., Belichick took Herbert and that team and beat him 45-0. And I like Tua a lot. He ain't Justin Herbert.
And also, it should be noted that the Patriots do not play well historically against the Dolphins when they're away. Their 9-11 road record is the worst against any of their opponents since the year 2000. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. We have some college football to talk about. It is... All right, we'll see about that. You've called a couple other things on this show. We'll see if you're right about that one, too. Guys, we're going to talk some college football coming up here. Drew Brees is a go to start at quarterback. And look who's here with us, Mr. Ryan Clark. Guys, I'm going to start with Max here. And Max, I want to know, is Mahomes already better than Brees?
Yes, he is.
Greater. Not better, greater.
He's greater than Brees. Yes, he is. Like, think about it like this, guys. Let's say
Hold it.
Mahomes
Hold it.
today.
Hold it.
Never-
Before you continue, could you please explain the difference between greater? I mean, because I need to understand. I want to hear
sure.
your argument. But you said greater as opposed to better. Could you please explain the definition of the two?
Clearly, he's
Are you
better.
asking
I mean,
me
we know
or are you asking
Mahomes
Max?
better than Breeze. What we're asking is he greater? Okay, so what is the difference in better and greater? Let me give you an example. In track and field, that's the one sport we can measure objectively. We could put a stopwatch on it, right? We know that every top 10 sprinter in the world today would dust Jesse Owens. They're all better than him, but we wouldn't say they're greater than him. You want to say Usain Bolt is, maybe, right, something like that, but they're not greater. They did not dominate their contemporaries or do in their eras what he did in his, right? So, and furthermore, what I think we mean by greater, and people have different definitions in sports, but I don't think it's just total career value, right? Because then you get what people call compilers. You know, they have good season after good season after good season, and there's value in that, right? Best ability is availability. I just don't really believe that that's what we're talking about. I think we mean who hit the highest peak, and not just as a fluke, but it was a repeatable, talent. And that's what I think we mean by greater. That's what I mean by greater. If Mahomes never played another down of football, and I thought about the best I'd ever seen, I always think about Mahomes. Let me tell you something. In his career so far, like Drew Brees is the most accurate quarterback of all time, right? But he always throws more interceptions than Mahomes. Mahomes throws not only more touchdowns, but fewer interceptions on average. Better touchdown interception ratio. Mahomes clearly has the far more powerful arm. And Mahomes has done things in terms of peak performance. He can't match Brees' career. Hasn't been around that long. But the Brees has never done. Brees never won an MVP. Brees never threw 50 touchdowns. This is Mahomes' third season starting. His first season, he threw 50 touchdowns to only 12 interceptions and got a play away from the Super Bowl. His second season, he improved his touchdown to interception ratio and won Super Bowl MVP. And this year, he might do both. Mahomes has, at the peak of his game, when people talk about the greatest quarterback or the best quarterback they've ever seen, no one ever says Drew Brees. He's in the conversation among the greats, and I love me some Drew Brees. But if you want to say it's Peyton at his best or Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, do we really talk about Brees that way? Because if you asked me, and I ain't the only one, point blank, who's the best you ever put your eyes on, I would say Patrick Mahomes right now. And I think that captures what we really are trying to say by greatness. It can't just be for one season, but Mahomes is working on his third already. I think that's really what we mean, and I would say yes, Mahomes over Brees.
I respectfully disagree, but I'm a preface it by saying respectful because I understand where you're coming from, and that's why I asked you for that definition because I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? So I appreciate the explanation, okay? Even though there was a 50 to 26 touchdown drop off, he threw 50 his first year, and then he had 26 touchdown passes last year, and now he's got about 33 this year and counting. Let me just say this. I'm very, very big on resume, Ryan, as Max knows. Resume matters to me. Drew Brees is in his 21st year. He's had 20 years in the National Football League already. Max Kellerman, 5 of those times he has thrown for over 5,000 yards. Another 3 times he's thrown for over 4,800 yards. He's completed over 70% of his passes the last 5 straight seasons. And he's done it about 7 or 8 times in his career as well. So when I look at Patrick Mahomes, certainly he can run better. When I look at Patrick Mahomes, certainly he's a gunslinger with more of a rifle arm. But when I think about the quarterback position, I think about accuracy, I think about dependability and what have you. I'm not trying to tell you that Patrick Mahomes won't end up being greater than Drew Brees, but don't you have to do more before we're able to say that about you in comparison to Drew Brees? If for nothing else, out of respect for the resume that this man has had, I'm looking at his numbers right now. Drew Brees, has thrown for 79,000 yards. I'm going to repeat that, Super Bowl champion Ryan Clark. 79,000 yards. Okay? I mean, damn. Can somebody help a brother out? I'm going to say it one more time. 79,000 yards. Damn.
Yeah,
So again, the
That's
79,000, the 5 years with over 5,000 yards passing, the 5 straight years he's completed over 70% of his passes. I didn't even look at the touchdown to interception ratio. I'm sorry, Max. I apologize. 565 touchdowns. 565 touchdown passes, Max Kellerman. That's how many got compared to 240 interceptions. That's a better than 2-to-1 touchdown to turnover ratio.
Max.
I mean, damn.
Yo,
Go ahead, Ryan.
That's not
Stephen A. Max.
Yeah.
So here's truly how you have to look at this question. There's either an impossibility to answer it, right? In the sense of what you're saying is, if it's about resume, then it's not a question. Because if it's about resume, then Patrick Mahomes hasn't played long enough that the resume can be greater in totality than Drew Brees. Like, that's easy, right? Now, if we take resume out of it, right, which maybe we can't do, Stephen A. Maybe y'all have asked a question that you necessarily can't answer by your criteria. But if you take that out, if we're taking out longevity and the ability to play well for a long period of time, and we're just going to look at it and say, you know what? If we had an all-time draft, and we could draft any quarterback that we ever wanted to draft, who would be talked about? Who would be picked? My thought is, and I love Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks and players to ever play football. So I'll say that first before the New Orleans Saints fans go crazy. And now I can't go down and eat at Drago's, even though they love me for saying something about him on TV the other day. If you had that conversation, Drew Brees doesn't enter the top 5 of that conversation. I think right now Patrick Mahomes does.
Can I interject right
that
there?
Aaron Rodgers does.
Can I ask you a question?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I want to throw this to you because I got it, and I'm going to defer to you, but it's a sincere question. What I'm saying is do you believe and do you agree with me when I say there are certain quarterbacks that have accomplished such phenomenal things that they don't deserve to have somebody in their 3rd year compared to them? When you do what he has done with the sustained level of excellence over that length of a period, can I sit up there and say to Patrick Mahomes, can you give me 5 or 6 years as opposed to 3? Because remember, Max, we were talking about Carson Wentz in very glowing fashion 3 years